Okay, everybody, here we go. It's me, Gregory Mannarino, Friday, December 6, 2024, pre-market report. You know, people, once in a while, this stuff really just gets to me. I think all of you know that. Let me show you what I'm talking about just right off the bat. So we got some breaking news literally minutes ago before I am doing this lovely video blog. And they're telling us now that unemployment is rising. How can this be if they've been also telling us that we're adding jobs every single month? The fact of the matter is, we're not adding anything. You see this number right here? This has no connection whatsoever to reality. Let me tell you what the reality is in case maybe you need a wake-up call. Every single month, net, we are losing jobs here in the United States and around the world as the economy is contracting and contracting and contracting and contracting some more. The mechanism here is so in our face, along with the lies, the deceptions, the distractions. Let me show you something else. 2 days ago, we heard from illustrious Fed President Williams, who said that prices are cooling. In other words, they're coming down. Well, just yesterday, we heard from the super illustrious Fed creature puke Powell, who acknowledges that prices are still rising. What does he say specifically here? Jerome Powell, the chair of the Federal Reserve, said it's way too early for the central bank to start reacting to the bad economic news that we're getting here. However, they're also saying that inflation is a little higher than expected. So let's see. This guy says prices are coming down. This guy says not so much. 1 day apart. Let me show you something else here just real quick that I think you're really going to get a kick out of. So this is just yesterday. Fed Chair Powell, Bitcoin is like gold. It's just virtual and digital. How about no? Okay, let me say something else here. Why is this being floated out? As you all know, I'm going to say it again. We are being made the crypto capital of the world. This is where the Fed and the new beautiful man who's going to sit behind the Resolute desk are pushing the United States to be the crypto capital of the world. You must be convinced, okay, that everything is all good here. We're going to bring in the new system and you're going to love it because you have no choice. So you can see the play being set up here. This was being set up before the presidential selection. Again, you didn't get to choose who was going to be president. They get to choose. They get to choose who they want to work with to bring in the new system. The new system, tokenized. You know about it. We're being bridged right now very, very fast. So you're going to see more stuff like this get floated out. Again, the mechanism here, people, is revolting to me and should be to you. The banks, these predatory institutions are being deregulated. Wait till you see where that's going to go, along with cryptocurrency merged to bring them right up to the top of the pyramid. And guess what? We lose. What would you expect? We're not being made the constitutional money capital of the world. We're being made the crypto capital of the world. And this was all set up before the selection. And again, you know my take on this. I'm not even going to go on anymore. So let's talk about something else here. A couple of very interesting pieces of news over the last couple of days. So what's happening here, you and I already know this, but I'm going to let you know again here. The setup is for much higher prices moving forward, much higher inflation. Again, it cannot be it could be stopped, but the mechanism would have to be the polar opposite of what's happening now. How do you stop inflation in its tracks? How could the Federal Reserve or any central bank, working with a political puppet, stop inflation in its tracks? Number one, let's contract the money supply, less cash available to chase the same, or in this case, a lesser amount of goods. Sound about right to you? That would be number one. Number two, let's raise interest rates, which would increase the purchasing power of the currency. That's number two. But what are we getting instead? We're getting a ballooning of the money supply as the world economy contracts. You all know this. We're getting lower rates here. The Fed is in the process of lowering rates. Are they going to cut rates this month? Probably. Okay, probably, because that's the goal of every central bank, and it's their single power. Let's suppress rates. Let's get a puppet to promise you lower rates. This is what Trump is doing right now. And prior to the presidential selection, look, they tell you the truth. The truth has to be told before the action is taken. It's their playbook. You understand? It's not the book that we follow. You know what the book I'm talking about? They follow a different book. Their book, the rules in their book is they have to tell you what they're going to do before they do it. I don't know how that works out, but that's what they have to do. Okay, we're being told, you're being promised lower rates, working with the Federal Reserve to lower rates further, devalue the currency, make sure the economy is destroyed further as central banks are propelled to the tippy top of the freaking pyramid. Look at your dollar bill. They tell you right on the dollar bill what's going to happen. Look at the truncated pyramid on the back of the dollar bills that you think that you own, that are not yours, that are owned by the issuing central bank that you work for every day. All you work for is for the privilege to borrow these bills into existence, and then you owe them back to the issuing central bank plus interest they create out of nothing. What a system. What a system. So let me explain to you what's going on here. The Federal Reserve is setting a blame game here. They're setting the stage for much higher prices. Now let me show you what I'm talking about. This one here. This is one day ago. Powell calls for change in unsustainable fiscal path. Let's see what he goes on to say. The Federal Reserve chair creature, Jerome Powell, puke, vomitous, warned that the United States, like we don't know this already, is on an unsustainable fiscal path. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make it up. Let's go on. Here's another one from the Financial Times. The Federal Reserve, a top Federal Reserve official, they're talking about our lovely friend Waller, Christopher Waller. We need a name for this guy. He's warning on progress on taming inflation. It may be stalling, but hold on a second. How can that be when this creature over here, Williams is telling us that prices are coming down. Prices are coming down. Here, we're finding that it's not true. So you see what the Federal Reserve is doing. They're playing their same game. One guy said, this is something that's been going on forever. You guys and girls that follow my work, I've already revealed this to you many times. I've exposed this. One creature says one thing. Another creature says another thing. Why do they do this? Do you think it's because they're not talking to each other? No, they are. They do this to keep you off balance. They think you're too stupid. One creature says one thing. One creature says the opposite of that. It's to make people wonder what's actually going on. Again, and why? How do they get away with this? Because no one's holding them to account. Who's holding these people to account? They can do anything they want. They can say anything they want. But the setup here is very simple. Much higher prices are coming, not just on the back of tariffs. Okay, tariffs, who pays for the tariffs in the end? You do. The importers and the exporters, yeah, they pay them and then they pass those prices on to you. You're not supposed to know this stuff. You're supposed to believe that tariffs are being done to level the playing field around the world. You really bought that one? I told you it wouldn't work last time. I explained this to everyone during Trump's last tenure. Greg, you're wrong. Trump knows what he's talking about. He said he's going to pay off the debt in 2 years. The tariffs are going to do it. And the tariffs are also going to reduce the trade deficit. People, go back. Don't take my word for it. What happened to the debt? Hyper-ballooned. More debt than any other president in history under Trump. Oh, that's the truth. You don't believe me? You think I'm just calling him out? No, I'm not. It's a fact. Number two, the trade deficit ballooned. Although, that wasn't supposed to happen either. I told you it was gonna. It's going to happen again. And prices are going to rise for everybody on the back of these tariffs. And not just that. Being that central banks are setting the stage here, setting the stage for a blame, to assign blame. Where are they signing a blame? Well, here it is. The unsustainable fiscal path. What's going to be set up here, and it's just of course, who's more than willing to lend? When we run debts and deficits, who makes up the difference? Duh! It's the Federal Reserve. They're more than happy to lend, but they have to say these kinds of stuff to make you think that they're on the side of angels. They want to lend. They want to suppress rates. They want to devalue the currency because it allows them to get stronger. This is every central bank, not just the Federal Reserve here. So let's see. So you mean that we were lied to about transitory and temporary, and no one is calling them out? Not one single question about this? During the presidential clown show debate? Not one question. Does that bother you? It bothers me like you have no idea. That during the debate, which was not a debate at all, it was all scripted. How do we know it was scripted? Because what was omitted from the script? Don't mention the Federal Reserve. Don't talk about monetary policy. Don't talk about anything like that. Just blame each other for inflation. Make sure you don't point your finger at the Federal Reserve. Tell me again. Tell Greg Mannarino one more time. Who is it that's responsible for monetary policy and henceforth inflation? Is it presidents? No! It's the Federal Reserve! But they had to blame each other. A blame must be assigned. So what they're doing here is they're assigning blame. The Federal Reserve is letting us know what we already know, that we're on an unsustainable fiscal path. And that's what they're going to tell you is the reason, or whatever it might be. Maybe another scamdemic, a warp speed, or more war. That's the reason. It's probably a whole bunch of things they're going to say. It can't be one thing. They have to make sure you have no idea what's going on. So maybe it's this, and maybe it's that, or maybe it's the other freaking thing. But they're setting the groundwork here to let you know what's going to happen. Again, they have to tell you first. They have to tell you first what's going to happen, and then it does. It's their book. It's not our book. But we know their playbook. It's too simple to understand. I'm going to call it the satanic playbook because that's what they follow. They tell you what they're going to do first, and then they do it. Must be part of the satanic rules. I don't know what to tell you. It ain't our book. So what do you think? Are you surprised to find out that unemployment is rising, though we're adding jobs? Tell me, how does that work? Someone here that's smarter than Greg Mannarino, okay? First of all, you know the number's fake. Second of all, they're telling us we're adding jobs every single month. Our economy is strong. That's what the Fed just told us. That's what we're being told by everybody, right? So if we're adding jobs, how does the unemployment rate rise? I wonder how that works. People, look, man, I don't even know what to tell you anymore. It's too obviously in our face. Look, they could stop inflation. They won't stop it. The mechanism right now to artificially suppress rates means they have to create cash out of nothing and buy the debt. No president has the power to do that, although you were promised lower rates by the illustrious Trump. He knows he doesn't have that power, but he thinks you're stupid. And he's laughing at you, just in case you were wondering. If you're being laughed at, you are. He said that because he realized that, well, people aren't going to know any better, so I'm going to promise them lower rates. Which, no president has the ability to devalue the currency, which to buy the debt, which will devalue the currency. But you see, he couldn't tell you that either. That's what they do. These lies, they all come from the satanic playbook. You understand that? Not our playbook, but their playbook. And that's just, unfortunately, where it's going right now. It's greed. It's all this Babylon system that's wiping us all out. So anyway, that's where we're going here, people. Imagine our shock. So the stage is set. Much higher prices, more currency devaluation, and everything else connected to it. And guess what? You remember these two words, forced suffering? That's what I've been telling you for quite a long time. Months. Forced suffering. You're going to be forced to suffer. We all are. People around the world. But you know why? Because no one's willing to take a stand, except for maybe you and me, just by trying to get this information out there. People have been so dumbed down, so lulled into a sense of learned helplessness, which is a real thing. Look it up, Pavlov's dog. They don't know what to do anymore. And we are controlled, conquered and divided society. They got us exactly where they want us. They can lie, they could cheat, they could steal, they could deflect, they can assign blame, pull every trick off in the book. And they know they can get away with it because there's no one's going to hold them to account anymore. Because again, why? We're a conquered people. It's unfortunate. Anyway, we're going to still keep doing what we're doing, people. With regard to this market, what can I tell you, man? I think we've nailed it to the wall. We're going to continue to nail it to the wall. You're going to see more artificially suppressed rates, more currency devaluation, a much higher stock market, massive foreign investment in the U.S. markets. On the back of that, more distortions across the spectrum of asset classes like you cannot possibly believe moving forward. But it's all for your own good. You're going to suffer for your own good. That's what Elon Musk told you. Oh, you didn't believe that either? Oh, look it up. Yeah, Elon Musk said that you're going to suffer. You're going to suffer. But in the end, it's going to be good for you. You're going to suffer. But you're going to suffer but for your own freaking good. You don't believe he said that? You don't believe he said that? Well, you know, it was just a costume with the upside down crucifix on it. You know it was just a costume, right? He wasn't telling you who he really is. Oh, okay. Yeah, it was just a costume, right? Look it up. See if he said, you're going to suffer, but it's for your own good. And maybe you're going to see what I'm talking about. And maybe you'll start to understand things maybe a little more clearly. Or maybe you'll remain in your little psychotic delusion. I don't know. Love all of you people from the heart, man. I really, really do. We got this down. Let them play their games, people. We know what they're going to do. We know what book they follow. It ain't our book. And we're just going to continue to do what we're doing. I will see all of you later on, all right? 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern for the live stream. And that's all I'm going to say, all right? Love you all from the heart. Please take care of yourselves. Until we meet later again, please take care of yourselves and each other, okay?